Thank you very much for the introduction, Mark, and thank you very much to the steering committee for the invitation for presenting today to be part of this first panel of speakers. I'm very glad and pleased to be here today, and let's go for 15 minutes. So can you, I cannot pass to the next slide. Yes, now. Now too many. I'm sorry, there is a problem with my laptop. It's reflecting a lot and oops. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and start again if you don't mind. It went well when we were
of course
making.
No worries. They always go to sleep when we're sitting waiting.
Yes, I don't know what's happening now. It's a mystery. Just a second. I'm sorry. It went quite well before 3 here in Europe.
Whilst you're doing that, I'll just say to people, if you have questions, please put them in the question and answer, not the chat. And I do see a couple of participants with their hands up. I've responded in a chat if you have a question, but we're not going to be taking questions from the audience just yet until the session where we're talking. Now I've got a third person with a raised hand. I'm not sure I'm helping here. If you have,
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's coming again. No worries. It's now here.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. My PowerPoint decided to stop working just at the very bad moment. So coming again. Okay. Should work now?
Yep, we see it.
Let's try with the full screen. Good. I'm so sorry.
Good. No worries.
So thank you very much again. And let's go. So as Mark said, I'm going to well, very few moments to explain who we are. He already did. What is the policy context, not only policy, but what is the context in Europe? Because this is important to make understand perhaps EFFAB's and FAB RTP perspective on this topic, and what are kind of some of current and future developments, because of course there is no time to explain all the things in which we are involved. So we are the voice of animal breeders and scientists with FAB RTP at European level, mainly in Brussels, not only, but mainly in Brussels. And our members are a diversity of actors working in five main animal farm species of ruminants, poultry, pigs, aquaculture, and insects, breeding for a wide variety of farming systems. And of course, they operate at very local, regional, European, but also global level. So what we do is we engage in dialogue with policymakers, with stakeholders. We promote responsible and balanced breeding. We have a tool for that, which is called EFFAB, a code of good practices, and we'll say a word later on. And we advocate for proportionate and science-based policy and legislation. Again, mainly at the European level, I mean European Union level, but we are also involved in other fora and other countries. So what is this European context? The European context, the political one, very widely. We have had the European Green Deal 4 years ago, was a political initiative to make Europe more green and more sustainable, also, of course, for agriculture. And recently, we have voted in June for the new European Parliament. So it means that we are going to have a new European Commission, so the College of Commissioners, what are kind of ministers of the European Union. And this is so the wide context in which we have also had a lot of farmers protest in early 2023. So this is influencing quite a lot, or at least a bit, what is ongoing at the farm political level in Europe. In terms of entities, like we call them in Europe, so genome editing tools. You are going to have the presentation later on. I'm not going to go through the whole timeline. This is not my role. You have Frank from the European Commission in the panel later after the break. But the main point I wanted to address today, that after all, we have the GMO directive in Europe, and what is ongoing now at the European level in the EU is that the Commission have put on the table a draft proposal. So it's not already legislation, is a draft proposal for legislation that is for plants, for some techniques, targeted mutagenesis and cisgenesis, to be out of the GMO directive. The discussions are ongoing between member states to amend and make proposals to this draft proposal. The European Parliament has also a word to say on this. And in the UK, we have this precision breeding bill, which was published also in 2023. And this one is addressing plants, but also animals. That's just to say a word. In terms of animals, what the European Commission is doing, and as Alison said also a word about it, is EFSA is working on a scientific opinion, because it's part of the process in Europe to engage in a potential draft proposal for any legislation or to adapt whatever guidelines for applicants. Is that so this EFSA scientific opinion on entities in animals is ongoing, and I will touch a word on this here now. So I'm not going to tell what Alison already did. Just wanted to say that this paper is already available in the EFSA website. And I wanted to put on here this graph, this pie chart showing that ESDN1 is 76% of the applications, because this part of the discussion is going to take part later on. But Alison already talked a lot about it, and it was a very good job that she did there. What I wanted to say is now a working group of experts is working on the second part of this mandate that the Commission sent to EFSA, and it should be published by June 2025. So it is quite of important thing for animal breeders in Europe. As part of the context that is important to understand or to fit with from an animal breeder's perspective. The third point, other than the plants proposal, the entities works in animals of EFSA, is the pressure that we get from some NGOs and some society groups, putting in difficulty or trying to influence and say that well, it's not only about genome editing, but selective breeding is already a problem for welfare. So it need to be understood because it's part of the context to whatever take a decision, whatever is an EFFAB position, or also at the political level in terms of genome editing. So the most known one probably is this breed to suffer in broiler chickens, that they want to limit the growth rate. Also the production of milk, and in particular in the UK with the gene editing bill, well, they were questioning also just the word of selective breeding. So this is the context in which we involve, and is influencing, of course, our work and our perspective on all these genome editing tools. So again, this is a summary of what I said before. This context provide challenge and opportunities for animal breeders. This new proposal for plants is still under discussion, but it's interesting to try to understand what we could have in the European context later on, after the plant proposal hopefully becomes legislation. Let's see, because it's still a draft proposal. There are developments for genome editing in terms of EFSA, and also for detection methods by the reference center. But also we have this revision of the animal welfare legislation that is ongoing. It was going to be published last year, but it's still not published. Again, a proposal. So in which some groups are asking for limitations for breeding operations. So that's what we do, is to try to engage basically what Alison explained before. We try to explain in a simple way what is breeding and why we are doing, our members are doing today. Because most of the argumentations we are having against the breeding are coming from previous focus on perhaps on production traits. I know that this is not fully like in the way I'm presenting now. It's a way to explain people outside the breeding world that how it works breeding nowadays. So we have developed this code of practices to show that breeding program is many different things together, a lot of breeding objectives with many different traits, in which we improve also animal health and welfare. We reduce the use of resources. We try to reduce environmental impact and so on. Again, this is a way to explain a very simple way to policymakers and stakeholders what our members are doing. And this code EFFAB is evolving every 3 years. It's kind of a self-regulation that our members adopt, so we can show what our members are doing and what is the progress they are doing in putting in place this kind of breeding programs. So it's an important topic when we talk about these animal welfare regulations or policy initiatives, because for our members, genome editing or whatever is the biotechnology is part of a breeder's toolkit. So some of the critics we heard is that genome editing is going to replace conventional breeding, what is of course not true. So it's part of a toolkit, a toolbox. It could be one new more tool in this toolkit. Of course, for this we need appropriate legislation or appropriate guidelines, at least to introduce applications at the European level. And potential opportunities our members see on those ones are of course disease resistance, it was said, animal welfare, and applications on biodiversity, like the sterility of the fish to avoid the mix with wild population, in particular in aquaculture. So this is just to show kind of some of them. So our perspective is that there are interesting applications, of course, in this context of this European context, to improve animal health and welfare. Perhaps we need to, I mean, not that we need, we are already engaging in dialogue with many groups, stakeholders, and the European Commission. Perhaps there is regarding the plant proposal, there are applications that are not allowed. So perhaps we have had to have these discussions in the animal breeding sector at the European level. There are regulatory and technical challenge. Perfect. We know that many people are working on them. We are trying to be involved, and we think really we need more research. Eric mentioned that there is a need for more research in animal genetics and reproduction, including these techniques. And of course, if the European Union is not taking action, our breeders will probably have a weaker position, and also researchers. And what would happen with imports? Because that's also an important point if the EU decides to stay in the place we are from a policy perspective. So in terms of, to finish, in terms of current and future developments, we are involved in many initiatives, but I wanted to address two of them. EFFAB is also involved, EFFAB and FABER-TP are also involved in European projects. Most of the time what we do is to translate science to stakeholders and to the outside world, not only for breeding and genetics, but also in general in animal farming. And these two initiatives, those projects, are the two more recent ones that are related to genome editing, which are the Eurofund Research and Innovation Concept the Eurofund Research Infrastructure Project, which is in the phase of concept and development. So we are just reflecting on what could be research in Europe on genotype to phenotype. And in this context, we have developed a European think tank on genome editing. And Detective is another project in which scientists are developing detection methods for these in situ products, including animal products. So this think tank on genome editing, we have had 2 virtual meetings in 2023 and 2024. Well, no, it was not 2 virtual. Yes, well, there was a first, there was a first exchange at our annual meeting in 2023 with breeders and scientists. And we have been discussing about barriers, opportunities, and priorities. So we had a bit open or further than EFFAB and FABR TP members, the part of the work we are already doing in our organizations. Another thing we have been doing is to try also to work on terms of key definitions, to have a consensus on those ones, because it's also important. We are talking about new breeding techniques, new genomic techniques, genome editing, which are the ones that we have to use, and for which are the techniques that are behind. So this is the things we are doing, and I don't have time to explain everything. We have a website explaining all these things, not only the think tank on genome editing, but what the EFFAB research infrastructure project is doing. But one of the outcomes we expect within think tank, and that's what we are involved on it, is to link to code EFFAB, to this code of good practices for responsible and balanced breeding, because it's part of the commitment of our members for breeding for the future. So it's a way to explain everyone what they are doing, and the outcome of this think tank that are not already finished. I mean, with this is an ongoing work, will be, of course, it's an European project, so the deliverables have to show to follow the way that the Commission expects that we communicate these findings. Yeah, that will be available on the website. So these are the main ones. And so to conclude, because I think I'm just on around the time I have received to talk to you. So this European, so we have had elections in the European Parliament, for the European Parliament, but also in the UK in July. So those moments in which policymakers are changing and you have new faces arriving, we are extremely good moments to engage with them, to explain the importance of animal breeding in the context of sustainable food systems, the importance of having new tools to help breeders to fulfill their role, and of course you and UK, of course, both, we need to be part of the conversation about animal biotechnologies, because now today we are in an international workshop. And that's it. I think that was my last slide. Yes, that was the last one, real one. So 2 years ago, we were in Brazil. We were discussing about a global legal framework for genome editing in farm animals. This year is not in person. 2 years later, it's online, but I hope that all the discussion during these 2 weeks will be very fruitful and we could move forward in this topic. Thank you very much.